it's funny looking back now, I'd have no issue doing that within Hardin's character, but yeah, back then it was a bit more like polite English boy, like, are you sure I should put my boots on the bed?
Excuse me? I think that you're in the wrong room.
I'm in the right room.
How did you even get in here?
I think this was actually the first scene that we shot, either of us, I believe. I remember this. Maybe one, I think we did multiple audition scenes, and maybe one. Look at this guy with his shoes on the bed, man. So that always annoyed me, but I just had to go for it, get them boots up there. Yeah, this, especially for the first one, like, it's almost kind of hard to like be so brutally, I guess it is mean or a bit just straightforward. You're on someone else's bed, like they just got here and you're, but that's the character. So it's funny looking back now, I'd have no issue doing that within Hardin's character, but yeah, back then it was a bit more like polite English boy, like, are you sure I should put my boots on the bed? But no, this was fun. I'm pretty certain that was our first scene, yeah. Yeah, you got me wanting to rewatch the whole first movie now. We did a camera test the day before, and I think I was so like, I think you work with experienced actors nowadays who are like replying to a text on their phone before a big scene, and then they're suddenly straight into it, and then, they're not bothered. But for that, I was definitely like in the trailer, like phone off, like thinking about what he would think and getting into the mindset. It's funny, it's like, your first day of school, you're so equipped, like you've got all the different colored pens and pencils, and then towards the end, you're like, oh, I got this, I'll wing this test, I'll be fine. It's funny how much more of a big deal it is when you look back and remember what it was like doing the first scene.
I never thought I would find myself completely and utterly consumed by another until her.
This was in Atlanta in a big kind of, I can't remember what the park was called, like a big kind of like nature reserve. We had a press guy, like a photographer who no one knew about, like far end of the lake that someone spotted with his long lens. That was like our first paparazzi encounter, I think. But yeah, some of these shots are beautiful. I remember filming, because obviously the way it works when you film films is look at him. You obviously film the same location you'll only have for like a few days, so you film all the scenes at that location. So it was funny doing like their first date at the lake scene, but then also the final part of the movie like in the same day. So I did enjoy those lake scenes. I think they're such a beautiful location.
I'm really glad we did that.
Me too. Do me a favor and just keep it between us.
Of course. I never kiss and tell.
Thank you.
You piece of
I remember that house so well, actually. I remember just any time we had break between scenes, there was like a bedroom that wasn't used, and everyone would be like first one to get in the bed. So you'd walk in and you'd be like, you lucky little. I think it was my stand-in called Brett, I believe his name was. Brett, lovely guy. If you're watching, shout out Brett. I think he's the guy who I pushed. Yeah, both of our voices were gone after this. And I think all the extras were really nice and gave us like a big round of applause after we finished the scene, because obviously they're all stood in silence watching, and then it's like another take, another take, another take. And then we finally got it, they're all like, well done, we can go home now. I don't remember how many takes it was, but it felt like 5 or 6 or 7. But then obviously you've got the one setup which captures me, and then the other setup which captures Joe, and then however many takes, you kind of just on average double that, because you've got to wait for the camera to turn around. And yeah, man. Kids. Teenagers, am I right? After scenes like this, you do need to just take a minute, have some water, because your throat will go like, yeah, you almost forget how much it does mess with your vocal cords and stuff, just shouting like that. But it was worth it. I'm happy with the end result, and I did enjoy it. I did. Enjoyed pushing Brett.
You are so important to me and your mum.
You serious? Now you two want to play some sort of united front. F off with that.
You wouldn't be so angry if you didn't care.
This one was really fun to film, and I'm so glad we went with what we went with at the end for the way in which he realizes, rather than saying like, Luke, I am your father. It's like, it's a bit more subtle, and it's nice because he kind of is putting the pieces together in his head. And then what is it they do? It's like this, and then this or something. Sorry, I'm actually just really enjoying watching this back. We actually had like 1,000, I think upwards of 2,000 fans. This was in Bulgaria. Sat outside. It was like all glass windows by the hotel. And like you can't see it because the way the shot's framed, but like it was almost like doing theatre rather than a film because there were so many people there. And obviously it's in the public, nothing anyone can do. And there's later a shot where I walk out the hotel and the camera pans up and like just outside of frame, if the camera panned a little bit to the right, you would see there's just like loads of fans. We're all having to be like, can you please be quiet so we can capture sound, please? Like, it shows the support we're so grateful for. Look, there it is. I love how it's intercut with their conversation here as well. He's like, what? No. Oh, wow. Imagine, I can only imagine what that must be like to go through in reality. Like, yeah, you're bringing back some memories. Now I gotta go do a little after marathon and watch all of them, don't I?
I don't want people reading about my life.
This is our lives. What is the point in everything we've been through if we can't channel that into something that helps people? It's about forgiveness and unconditional love. That is the kind of story After is.
After?
It's my journey after I met you.